Hey, Billy Epperhart here, author of Money Mastery, where we talk about making sense of making money for making a difference. If you haven't got a copy, I want to encourage you to go to Amazon.com, or if you want a physical hard copy like this, you can go to BillyEpperhart.com. So in here we talk about investing in real estate, which is, of course, we're talking about the 14 mistakes every new investor makes. We have a whole real estate chapter in this book, along with many other things that we cover. But today I want to welcome you to, again, us talking about the 14 mistakes that new investors make. And today we're on the bonus mistakes. And the next mistake that we have here, right here on the wall, is failing to pre-qualify tenants. What happens many times with people, when, especially as a landlord, if I can get that out, as a landlord, what happens is that a lot of times, especially newbie landlords, don't understand some of the processes that tenants must go through. So one of the things, there's a couple of really obvious things that must be done in order for you to, what we call, pre-qualify your tenant. The first one, of course, is a credit check. And so I can give you some good information here. One is you would run what we call a normal credit check, which that basically means you look at their credit score and kind of what their history has been. Now, if their credit score typically is 600 and up, you know, if you're in that low to medium income type property, 600 and up, something like that is a good place to be. If you get into more higher end luxury properties, then you want to be in the 680, 720 range. But let's talk about that for a second. I have seen some tenants that have come to us that one of the reasons that they, for example, wouldn't qualify on a credit score is they had unpaid medical expenses, but you look at the rest of their history and they had done well. So they'd paid their rent, let's say, or they had paid their credit cards, let's say, on time, but yet the unpaid medical bills had knocked their credit score way down. I always use those unpaid medical bills, depending on the circumstance, as kind of an exclusion to determine whether or not that tenant is really qualified. And especially if you're not sure and they give you the reference from their last landlord, you can call that landlord and find out, did they pay their rent on time? And so a credit check is a critical first start. Second one is criminal check. And of course, what you're looking for there primarily is any kind of drug use or any kind of drug manufacturing. One of the greatest problems with rental properties is people who rent them for meth labs. And that's why later, when, in fact, I've covered it in here, you want to make sure in this series on 14 mistakes, if you haven't seen that one, go in and find it, where I talk about making sure you get into your property at least once a month and be able to look around and know the signs that you're looking for. So the first is a credit check. The second is a criminal check. And I'm primarily looking for drug problems. Obviously, if there's been some severe violent type acts, abuse or something, you want to consider that. But most of the time I'm looking for drug activity or issues that have come up around that when I'm looking at criminal check. And then one of the things that I learned a long time ago from one of my mentors in real estate was this, is that if a tenant comes to me, one of the first things you want to do, and they want to rent, and I'm not sure about them, then the best thing to do is go see where they live now. That's a huge one. And the way you do it is if they say they're interested in renting and they fill out the application, then you visit them unexpectedly at their current place of residence and knock on the door and let them open the door, and you're looking around at their house, their yard, their car, all of the things to see how nice they keep things. And I always look and I always smell. I'm looking for certain things and certain smells, and I go to see where they live. And if they keep a tidy house now and didn't know I was coming, it's probably a pretty good sign they're going to take care of your property. So I don't mean everything has to be perfect, but it should be well kept. And so that's one of the things, go see where they live is a key thing. Now, there is now currently a national tenant base, and you can just Google that. If you'll pull up and Google National Tenant Database, and you can go in and find in some people that have rented in other states. I always have people write me back, yeah, but the people that are renting from me, they came from California and I'm in Texas. Well, exactly. So that's when you want to call and check with the landlord where they came from. Don't rent blindly. Make sure you pre-qualify your tenants. I guarantee you that will save you heartache, much heartache for months to come. And so make sure that you pre-qualify your tenant. So criminal check, credit check, and then make sure you go see where they live, and if possible, the national tenant database. So I hope this has been helpful to you. This is Billy Epphart saying thanks for tuning in. Listen, hit like or share, make a comment. We'd really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you right back here again.